I have been wanting to make a racing game for my console Vercon 32. I already made this concept for a pseudo 3D racer, but what I want to do now is an overhead view racer in this style. To begin, I designed a simple set of road segments that I could join together as a tile map. I put together a test circuit and used a 2D car with simple controls. The car will try to turn towards the direction we are pressing. To get realistic movement, the car will turn relative to its rear axis. When we go faster, the camera will move ahead to let us see further. We can also detect when some of the wheels are off-road, but note that we are still pending any physics for friction and collisions. Let's now try to get a perspective view of the circuit. This will look similar to the old Mode 7 games, but the camera won't rotate. The first thing we need to do is to choose the perspective we want. With that, we will calculate some references like distances and scales. This console has no 3D, so we use those parameters to write a routine that draws the circuit line by line, increasing the scale. For the car, I'm using this placeholder, but it only has 8 positions, so its rotation is way too rough. Also, the car perspective does not fully match the circuit. So, it is time for us to make our own car sprites. But I am not a 3D artist, so what can I do? I had the idea to buy a few toy cars to use as models. These are very cheap, easy to find, and they look well enough for the level of detail that we want. The first thing we need to do is to prepare a controlled setup for taking photos. We will use a grid to ensure that we get a perspective that matches the one we use in-game. Then we will take consecutive photos of each car rotating in 24 different angles. The first thing we need to do with those pictures is to align them all by choosing a reference point. This marks the center of the car. Then we get to the really time-consuming part. We will fix any details, trace the shadow manually to make it translucent, and carefully remove all of the background. This is the end result at full detail. It took some time, but it looks great. And this is the result when we scale it down to pixel art. Then we just repeat this process to get 4 car models. Now this is how the cars look in-game. They turn much more smoothly and they do match our perspective. However, the problem now is the car looks too realistic for such a plain road. We can improve the ground by adding some textures. I found these free ones that look nice and are just the perfect size. We can apply the textures in Photoshop by using a color code to select the parts we need. To get more variety, I also added some plants and vegetation. And this is how the end result looks. I'm quite happy with it. Now keep in mind that video quality here may end up looking quite bad. This console does not smooth the textures and video compression really dislikes that. To complete the graphics, I will add some vertical elements in the scenery, like trees and fences. For the gameplay, my next step should be improving the controls and physics. I want to add some drifting mechanics to get a more arcade feeling to it. But that will be a story for another video. So subscribe if you want to get more updates. See you later!